You guys want to talk about some crazy shit? This is $100 worth of groceries. $100 even. That's before taxes. $100 right here.
I went to do my weekly grocery shopping, and tell me why a diet of rice and beans plus some grocery bags just cost me $80. $80. And I know what y'all are thinking. You must have impulse purchased something. You're right. I did. Brussels sprouts and hummus. How dare I? How dare I? And furthermore, my greatest sin was running out of butter. I should know better than to think little old me, deserve to have olive oil or butter. God forbid I want a fat or an oil involved in my food. Bread? Why was the cheapest loaf of bread $3? As someone who starts every single morning with toast, this is not sustainable. Because I can't go any cheaper than toast in the morning. What's cheaper than toast in the morning? There isn't anything. It was a trick question. Trash bags? I'm about to start throwing my trash into the lawn and burning it any time there isn't a burn notice. I'm from the olden days, a bygone era, where you could roll a cart down the grocery store, and if you filled it to the absolute brim, you would be lucky to break 100. This basket wasn't even all the way full. I wasn't even tilting, carrying it. No, very confidently. Weak me, just walking perfectly straight with my half-filled basket, thinking this can't break 50. There's no way. This isn't even a week worth of food. I start ringing it up. We hit 50 a quarter of the way through. $80. And for the rest of the week, I'm eating rice, beans, toast. I did get eggs, but in my defense, 30 for $10 in the year of 2025, that's a pretty damn good deal. $10 a paycheck, I can live with that. What I can't live with is $3 for a loaf of bread. Are you fucking kidding me?
We have some pretty big news right now. Donald Trump's own voters are turning on him when it comes to affordability and blame him at increased rates for the cost of living in the United States of America. New polling that's been released by Politico shows that 37% of those who voted for Donald Trump in 2024 say that the cost of living in the United States of America is at its worst than it's ever been before. And a good chunk of those blame the current president of the United States for the fact that affordability is just not affordable. It's a very interesting shift, but it's a very dangerous one politically for the Republican Party because heading into 2026, affordability is at the top of the ticket. Even if Donald Trump's name isn't there, his policies are. And while he calls affordability a, quote, Democrat con job, but his own voters seemingly don't agree. And if even just 15% of Trump voters vote blue in 2026, that would represent a massive leftward shift nationwide. We'll see what happens next. As always, spread the word. Subscribe to my Substack link in bio to support. Follow along for all the news you need to know about.
Life in America is getting harder for a lot of people and is especially noticeable for those who supported Trump. Many of the promises people believed in about job security, economic growth, and stability feels distant now. Families are facing rising prices everywhere they turn. Groceries, rent, gas, and healthcare are all giving up. And for people living paycheck to paycheck, it's becoming a real struggle just to make ends meet. Grocery bills have increased dramatically over the past few years. Milk, egg, bread, and vegetable cost significantly more than they did just a few years ago. For a family of four, the weekly grocery trip can feel like a serious financial decision. Every item has to be considered carefully. Do you buy fresh vegetable or save a few dollars on frozen ones? Do you pick cheaper cuts of meat even though the kids complain? These are the choices families have to make every single week because the price don't wait. Gas is another area where family feels pressure. Commuting to work, running errands, and even taking a short trip can cost more than it used to. Gas price fluctuates depending on global events, production changes, and policies, and that unpredictably adds stress. For many households, paying for gas is no longer just a simple transaction. It's a factor that affects the rest of the budget, forcing families to cut back elsewhere. We've got more clips and conversation coming your way. If this is your first time here, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Credit to all creators in this video. Let's chat.
I'm going to try to get through this without crying. My name is Louise, and me and my family own a wheat farm in Kansas. We are all certainly lifelong Republicans, and we were so happy to vote for Trump in all 3 of his elections. However, we were certainly not aware that he was going to put a funding freeze on all U.S. aid. 100% of our wheat produce is bought by U.S. aid and shipped out of the country. So our farm is completely bankrupt. We have no customer. We had this whole deal with the U.S. government, and now that is just gone in a second. And we are completely decimated. USAID buys about $2 billion worth of American farmers' goods annually, and every single one of those farms is in the same boat as us now. It's a sinking boat. He didn't consider us at all when he made these decisions, and it would be impossible for any world leader to do something that could negatively affect us more than what Trump has done to us. And we voted for him.
What's up, America? Prices have not come down. So after 4 years of dealing with Joe Biden, now a full year of Donald Trump, I've noticed that prices overall haven't come down whatsoever. Some of you out there are having some luck with gas prices coming down, not me. Prices haven't come down a single cent. And I live in a red state, but fuck me, I guess. Prices for groceries of every kind continue to remain high. Prices for homes are barely falling, even though nobody's buying fucking homes currently. And prices for new and used cars, health insurance, car insurance, every motherfucking thing remains sky high. Nobody can afford shit, to the point where some restaurants and businesses are now starting to go out of business because the average customer has no fucking money to live, and the average business here in America, small business, is paying through the nose for products. So unless we're stupid, we can see what's happening and what's going to be on the horizon. Most small businesses going out of business and being replaced with a corporation version of it. Then everything will eventually consolidate, and your entire country will basically be harnessed around 5 or 6 major corporations. Oh, by the way, have you noticed the price of gold through the fucking stratosphere? That's because the value of your dollar is worthless. It's worth dick. We're not quite Venezuela, but it's around the corner if we don't do something. $40 billion in debt somehow. Even though I guess it doesn't really matter overall, does it? So this nation needs to collectively pull our head out of our assholes and away from major corporations. But I know we won't. And I know AI will be the cure for the inability to make profit. All the way until they have 100% of the money and we're fighting over a wheel of cheese.
60% of the American public is about to lose everything they have. People living paycheck to paycheck are about to go broke. The GDP numbers came in yesterday, and of course the economy receded, which I predicted 2 months ago, and people laughed. Mark my words, the second quarter is going to be far worse. Tariffs on Chinese products at 145% are about to kick in, which means everything you buy from China on Amazon or elsewhere is about to go through the roof. Grocery store shelves are starting to empty at Walmarts across the country, and of course grocery prices continue to soar. People who've been financing groceries on credit are starting to default on those payments. We are about to see an economic catastrophe. If you're in this 60% that has little or no money, please stop spending money. Protect your family. Trump does not care about you. Even if you voted for him, he's a billionaire. He won't suffer, but you and your family will. Please protect yourself.
Our entire state is going to go bankrupt in 2 quarters. Me and my husband owned a cattle ranch here, and I can confirm that all of the cattle ranchers here overwhelmingly voted for Trump. We support him. We voted for him. Something like 70% of our entire workforce is undocumented immigrants, and they straight up are not showing up for work anymore. They have all either fled the country, fled the state. They don't want to get raided while at work, so they have just moved on to work somewhere else. And straight up, we are going to go bankrupt now. We are going to go bankrupt. And yeah, we voted. We knew that the immigrants would get deported and he was coming after immigrants, yet we still voted for it. Overwhelmingly voted for our own demise. I was talking to my husband last night, and I have to admit that it seems a bit foolish now when you think about it like that we voted for something that is now putting us directly out of business.
These rural Americans in this clip voted for Donald Trump, and now they cannot afford to eat. He promised he was going to make these people's lives better and fix all of the problems they are facing. However, he has done the exact opposite. Everything has gotten worse.
How big of a problem hunger is in rural America? Spend time at a mobile food bank.
It's 90% of what I consume. And I don't keep the car running. I can't afford the gas, so I have sleeping bags to stay warm.
I still feel bad that I have to come up here and sit in a line, to get food. It's embarrassing as hell.
While Americans are struggling to afford gas, food, and rent, Trump has found time to do just about everything else except for his job, including giving $40 billion to Argentina. He's also found the time to demand $230 million in taxpayer money for himself. And of course, he's got plenty of time to destroy the entire east wing of the White House and replace it with a ballroom that's modeled after one of Putin's palaces. But he can't find the time or compassion to reopen the government or extend ACA tax credits that many of his rural supporters rely on to survive. This is what happens when leadership becomes a vanity project. Trump isn't governing, he is indulging himself. He's treating the presidency like a personal empire with luxury renovations and giving foreign strongmen billions of dollars. Meanwhile, his very own supporters are standing in food lines saying they can't afford gas or groceries. It's not like he doesn't have the time or resources to fix this stuff, it's that he simply doesn't want to or care.
Regarding all these farmers that are now crying about possibly losing their farms because they voted for Trump, this is why you absolutely should not feel bad for any of these farmers that voted for Trump. Now, the ones that didn't vote, yes, feel sorry for them, go support them, do whatever you need to do. But the ones that voted for Trump, do not feel sorry for them, and let me tell you why. I am a builder, and I've been building shit in Oklahoma City going on like 20 years now, and farmers are not stupid. If you have the ability to manage a farm and understand the weather, the climate, your machinery, the chemistry that goes into your crops, you are not a stupid person. You're just not. And especially when you come from generational farming, you have the ability to look ahead and predict what you need to survive. And so when you have two candidates where you have Kamala Harris on one side giving you a whole fucking list of shit that she's going to do for you and make your life better, and then you have Trump on the other side who can't even come out with a normal sounding sentence, and you still vote for that guy, and you are a farmer, you are either racist or sexist or both. And they're only crying now because now they are being treated exactly how they voted for other people to be treated. Got that? They are being treated how they voted for other minorities, people of color, everybody else, poor people, sick people. That's how they voted for other people to be treated. And now they're the ones being treated that way by losing their livelihood, their homes, their income, their farms. So do not feel sorry for them. This is exactly what they had coming. Quick follow-up as to why exactly would Trump be doing this to farmers anyways, and I'm guessing 99% chance it's because he wants to bankrupt farms so his corporate buddies can come in and do a land grab. Basically what you have been seeing the last few years, major companies buying up a bunch of rental houses and jacking up the price of rents, and it's all going to corporations. It's probably something similar to let these farms go to foreclosure and his corporate buddies be able to come in, swoop them up, and now you've got bigger companies involved in more of our day-to-day food.
Let's face it, the United States is a failing nation. The actions of the Trump administration aren't actions of power, they're actions of desperation. The U.S. has been in decline for years, but now with the spray-tan sultan in charge, the collapse of the U.S. is being expedited to its destructive end. The country has crippling economic debt that is unsustainable. You got tribal politics where winning is more important than governing. Wealth inequality where millions are one emergency away from economic collapse, while the yacht-owning class tells everyone else, oh, things are improving. The credibility of the U.S. across the world is nosediving into a cesspool of corruption. The U.S. is eating itself while the world moves on. It now resembles Germany, not in 1942, but the years between 1933 and 1936, where the people still had a chance of reversing the events and stopping the regime from taking the country to its destructive end. The system is rigged and everybody knows it. Profit is more valued than human life, where healthcare, housing, food, and education are treated as revenue streams instead of necessities. None of this is sustainable, and ultimately, if left to those who are currently running the gong show that is America, it will bring the entire system crashing down. And whether it's done that way or by its citizens, maybe that's what needs to happen.
This is Donald Trump's America. Everyone needs to see this video. A mother of two is begging for help as she cannot afford to feed her children and pay her mortgage off anymore. It's truly heartbreaking and shows the reality that millions of Americans are living in right now. As soon as the money hits their account, it's instantly gone.
We are a family of 4. We have 2 kids. How are y'all surviving? Because I'm not. I got paid today, and it's gone. Goes toward the mortgage, cell phone bill, gas and electric, garbage, everything, gone.
The worst part is she works 40 hours a week, her husband works 50 hours a week, and they still can't even afford basic necessities. She says each month they have to decide between a grocery trip or paying the mortgage because they can't do both. Here's a powerful quote from her saying, "The people that don't have kids are barely surviving. I am not surviving. Your money is gone. There's nothing you can do. You just have to ride on this floating rock and spend." This right here is a very important part of what she said. Unless you're a rich elite, you're effed, and she's absolutely right. She then goes on to say that everybody needs to unite because it's very important we all speak out against this corruption. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's only going to get worse under Donald Trump's leadership. Everything that he does is focused around helping the elites and hurting the rest of us. That is his entire playbook. Here's a very simple analogy. Donald Trump is a billionaire, an elitist. Imagine he's on the red team. And imagine the blue team is the rest of America, the 99%, the working class. Why would anybody that's on the red team help the blue team out in any capacity? Obviously, he's going to help out himself and his team at the expense of us.
On this edition of FAFO, titled "Shit Hasn't Changed Even Though I Voted for Him 3 Times," meet Janique Jones from Pennsylvania. She's a 3-time Trump voter, and let's hear what she has to say. And for a little bit of context, she's a credit specialist that has a lot of clients. And this is what some of her clients are saying.
My husband lost all of his overtime. My kids' daycare went up. Can't afford the cost of food. Using credit cards for everyday expenses. No money left after their bills are paid. Pretty much just a whole bunch of financial mess.
We changed presidents at the beginning of the year.
We did.
And the guy who moved into the White House said that he was going to fix it. Several times he said it would be easy.
Absolutely.
Has he fixed it?
Absolutely not. I'm definitely waiting for him to fix it.
He's a 3-time Trump voter, but she says he has simply failed to keep his promise to lower the cost of living.
I'm very let down by that. Very, very let down because I feel like it's only gotten worse.
I have a very, very strong feeling that if you were able to run again, you would vote for this shit again. And what I will say about Pennsylvania is that during the election cycle, 50.4% of voters voted for this. Meaning that if some of them voted for this multiple times, then they're probably gonna have to be able to pull themselves up by the bootstraps like they tell other people to. Because it sounds like some of y'all didn't learn about the stuff that happened during his first term, and how he mishandled a lot of things. And then y'all decided to vote for it 2 more times afterwards. But in conclusion, all I have to say about this is, have the day that you voted for. Bye.
Trump has destroyed farming in America to the point where American farmers are now having to sell equipment to pay bills. They are getting crushed by Trump. Crop prices are crashing because they can't sell to the biggest markets, China, Mexico, Europe, due to Trump's tariffs. And equipment costs are skyrocketing because of Trump's steel and aluminum tariffs. So American farmers are now paying more to produce food they can't sell. And join us for more at culturalperspective.com, because this isn't random politics, it's cause and effect. The American political system creates a situation in which individuals with no experience, minimal education, and no specific knowledge can run for office. And at the same time creates a situation in which the most popular person, not the best person, gets elected, and which those running for office can lie without consequence. So it's no surprise that America is in serious trouble. American farmers overwhelmingly voted for Trump. They didn't get what they voted for because Trump lied to them. Layoffs are already picking up pace in the farming industry, and it's just a matter of time before we see a strong uptick in farmers losing their farms. What I don't understand is why so many farmers who are losing money and soon their farms, and so many workers who are laid off directly because of Trump's lies and policies still support him. Let me know what you think in the comments.
So while we as Americans can't afford healthcare or life-saving medications that we need, and we can't afford rent, and none of us can find a job, the Trump administration is talking about giving direct payments upwards of $100,000 to every single individual in Greenland to try and persuade them to join the U.S.
Do you ever notice karma always shows up wearing a red hat? Because this is that. A MAGA mom is melting down online after realizing her Make America Great Again vote came with an expiration date on her groceries. Sis is on Snap and Wick, crying that she can't afford baby formula, rent, or food. And her own mother told her, "We voted for this." I mean, how do you clap back to the truth? She's typing paragraphs about how anxious she is, how the shutdown hit her husband's GI Bill, and how her kids are hungry. Meanwhile, the rest of us are watching this in 4K like, girl, weren't you cheering when others were struggling? Now she's mad that her family won't lend her grocery money. The same family that told everyone else to work harder and stop depending on handouts. Funny how bootstraps snap when it's your turn to pull. And the internet is roasting her, and rightfully so. Because every election, people like her vote against their own interests. And when the consequences finally hit home, suddenly, we're struggling. And it's not fair. This is called fuck around and find out, sweetheart. What's unfair is pretending you're above every system you rely on until it stops serving you. MAGA said they didn't want to help people, and now they don't. Enjoy the America you built.
Betty, you voted for President Trump. Do you regret that decision based on what we're seeing?
In terms of food insecurity, I do. I believe he's doing a great job with the border. But right now, the border's not affecting me. Right now, it's affecting my daughter, the fact that she needs SNAP, and she won't be getting anything for November. And like I said, she's a type 1 diabetic, and we want to represent all the other diabetics out there or people with chronic health conditions that do need this food. And they may not have a safety net. They may not have relatives to fall back on. We know many people, and those people that don't have relatives to fall back on.
Let me ask you, Betty, because we're going to be speaking with the Republican congressman right after you and I had this conversation, one that's very close to President Trump. What is your message to lawmakers right now, Betty?
I would say restore funding for SNAP. And I believe the Trump administration, instead of focusing on presidential ballrooms, should be paying attention to individual Americans' dining rooms.
Betty, will this experience impact your voting decisions in the future?
Well, it depends on what the administration does in the future. It may. Like I said, there's certain things that I'm thankful that Trump has done. But in terms of just basic food insecurity, I believe he has to make some changes in order to do what he said. I think he promised to lower prices for Americans, and I don't see that happening right now.
Well, I want to thank you both for sharing what's happening. It's so important to hear. Thank you.
For many Trump supporters, this challenge are especially painful because they voted with expectation of economic stability and growth. When these expectations are not met, it can feel like a personal disappointment or betrayal. But beyond politics, these are human struggles. Families working hard to make ends meet, retirees worrying about bills, parents sacrificing small joys for their children, and individuals trying to stretch every dollar further than it seems possible. Housing costs are also rising. Apartments and homes are becoming more expensive, with rent in many areas increasing by hundreds of dollars over just a few years. This affects not only those renting, but also those trying to save for mortgage. When more money goes to housing, there is less left for groceries, transportation, healthcare, or saving for the future. It forces family to make difficult decisions every month, often sacrificing comfort or convenience just to cover basic needs. Healthcare is another challenge. Prescription drugs, medical visits, and insurance premium have all become more expensive. People who thought they would have a safety net in times of illness are now worrying about how to pay for treatment or medication. For those that have retired, who expected financial stability and lower taxes, this is particularly stressful. The combination of rising healthcare costs and fixed income makes every dollar count. All this comes together to create a sense of frustration and anxiety. Many people feel like they are working harder than ever, but getting less of it. The promise that motivated them, better jobs, stronger economy, and financial security, don't always match the reality they face today. And it's not just about money. It's about mental and emotional strain. Stress builds when families feel constantly stressed, uncertain about how they will pay their bills, and worried about the future. The reason behind these rising costs are complex but important to understand. Inflation has continued to increase, meaning the price of goods and services grow faster than wages. Supply chain disruption over the last few years have caused delays in shortage, which businesses passed on to the customers. Energy price fluctuates because of international conflict, production decision, and policy changes affecting every transportation to heating. Housing remains expensive because demand outpaces supply, and healthcare costs continue to climb with medical advancement and an aging population. All those factors come together to create a reality where everyday life feels more expensive than ever. The impact isn't just financial, it affects daily life and mental well-being. Families might skip vacation, cut down on meals, or delay necessary purchase. Parents make choice every day between convenience and necessity. Children notice the changes even if they don't fully understand why. This pressure builds over time and can cause tension in household, affecting relationship and overall happiness. It's important to recognize that not everyone experiences this way. Wealthier individuals or households with multiple streams of income may barely notice the increase, but middle-class families feel each rise in price immediately. The struggle to balance budgets and manage everyday expenses is real and is becoming more common to communities across the country. Ultimately, this challenge highlights that the American dream is no longer uniform. For some, it's about wealth and success. For others, it's simply about keeping food on the table, paying rent, and staying alive. That difference is crucial to understand because it shows that economic challenges are not just numbers or statistics, they are life experience. Families continue to adapt and survive, but the pressure is clear. Rising cost of living affects daily routine, mental health, and the sense of security that many believed was guaranteed. And while the struggles may be discussed in terms of politics, at the core, they are human struggles affecting real people in tangible way. It's easy to look at rising prices and see them as just a problem for others, but the reality is that families across America are feeling the impact deeply. From grocery to gas, rent to healthcare, this pressure shapes every decision and every day. For Trump supporters, this experience are intertwined with hopes, expectation, and frustration about the economy and their future. And understanding this reality requires empathy, attention, and a willingness to look beyond politics to a human experience behind the headlines. In the end, what's happening in America today? It's about more than politics. It's about families, communities, and individuals who are navigating rising costs while trying to maintain stability, security, and hope. It's about the choices they make every day, the sacrifices that often go unseen, and the resilience it takes to keep moving forward despite the challenges. Recognizing these struggles is the first step towards understanding the bigger picture of life in America today. It's a reminder that economic pressure affects everyone differently, but the human impact is undeniable and it deserves attention, conversation, and empathy. If this video gives you insight or made you think, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more honest commentaries and real discussion about what's happening in the world today. And leave your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear your perspective. See you in my next video.